My husband cheated with my best friend during our honeymoon, and so I vanished completely. I thought I was doing everything right. I played by the rules, picked a guy who looked decent, someone quiet and practical, not a party guy, not a risk. Daniel was the kind of man who said thank you to waiters and never raised his voice. He didn't sweep me off my feet, but he showed up on time. And after the string of disasters I dated in my early 20s, that felt like enough, like safety. Our dating life was routine. Coffee shops, movie nights, occasional trips to his parents' lake house. He never had big opinions about anything, which I mistook for being easygoing. The proposal was lazy. He asked after dinner at home while I was loading the dishwasher. No ring. Said he'd let me pick one out so I got something I liked. That should have been a sign, but I made excuses. I told myself he was just nervous or didn't want to get it wrong. I planned the whole wedding, from the guest list to the catering to the playlist. He didn't fight me on anything, but that's because he didn't contribute anything either. Every time I asked for his input, I got some version of, I trust your taste. He didn't even pretend to be interested. I should have taken it seriously. I didn't. I was just tired and wanted the event to be over already. The wedding came and went. It was nice on the outside. People dressed up, cried during the vows, danced like they cared. His family gave me compliments. My family looked relieved. Everyone told us we looked like a perfect match, that we'd make it. I didn't believe them, but I nodded and smiled. We flew to Santorini the next day. It was a trip I researched and booked myself. He hadn't even looked at the brochure. Said he didn't care as long as there was sun and Wi-Fi. I booked us into a honeymoon suite at a resort that looked like a postcard. White balconies, deep blue water, everything curated for newlyweds. I wanted to be excited. I tried. Took selfies on the balcony, wore new clothes I'd bought just for this, posted a few pictures with captions like honeymoon bliss. But the vibe was off. Daniel spent most of his time lying in bed scrolling his phone. I'd point things out, try to get him to walk to a local spot or even take a swim. He'd say later or I'm tired. The same things he said when I asked him to help with wedding planning. Then Melissa showed up. She messaged me out of nowhere saying her flight to Rome got canceled and she was nearby and thought it would be fun to stop by and surprise me. She said it like it was casual, no big deal, just a friend crashing for a night or two. Said it'd be like old times. I didn't know how to say no. We'd been close for years. She was my bridesmaid. I even helped her through her last breakup. She booked the room next door. I met her in the lobby and we hugged. She looked amazing. Tan, glowing, the kind of look that made people turn heads. Daniel lit up when he saw her. Like, actually lit up, more than he did when we arrived here. We had dinner together that night. I noticed Daniel engaging more, making jokes, ordering drinks, acting like he was enjoying himself for the first time since we landed. At first I was happy. I thought maybe Melissa's presence was bringing out his personality. But the way his eyes stayed on her, the way they laughed at things I didn't understand, it was too familiar, too much. The next night, things changed. Daniel said he was going to sleep early. I stayed up watching a movie on my tablet with headphones in. Around midnight, I took them off and noticed the room was quiet. Too quiet. I looked over. He wasn't in bed. I checked the bathroom. Empty. The small closet. Empty. I felt it in my stomach. That shift, that quiet panic that comes when something's off, and you don't know how bad it's about to be. I opened the door to the hallway. It was silent, but Melissa's door was closed. I stepped closer. I didn't plan to knock. I don't even know what I thought I'd do. I just stood there, maybe 10 inches from her doorframe. Then I heard it, a muffled giggle. His voice, talking low. Her voice again. That fake flirtatious tone I'd heard her use on strangers. Only this time, it was toward my husband. Then I heard something else. No mistaking it. That awkward silence that follows when people think they're alone and not being watched or heard. I turned and walked back inside our suite, sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the floor. My hands were cold. I didn't move for hours. By morning, they both acted normal. She smiled like nothing happened. He kissed my cheek and asked if I wanted eggs. It was so fake it felt surreal. I responded like nothing was wrong. I even agreed when Melissa said we should all walk to the beach together. I was already gone inside, but I smiled back because I knew I wasn't staying silent forever. I didn't leave that day. That's probably what surprises people the most when I tell the story. I didn't scream. I didn't throw his clothes into the hallway. I didn't even tell Melissa to get lost. I went to breakfast with them. I watched him smile and chew like nothing happened. I watched her lean toward him like it was some inside joke. It was disgusting, but I needed time. I needed to figure out what I wanted to do, not just what would feel good in the moment. We had 4 days left on the trip. I stayed calm. I played along. Every time Melissa spoke to me like we were still best friends, I looked her in the eye and nodded. Every time Daniel touched my hand or made some sarcastic comment like we were a cute couple, I played the part. I wasn't ready to burn it all down yet. Not without receipts. Not without something that would stick. The night after I heard them in her room, I put my phone on record and dropped it behind a pillow on our balcony chair. I told Daniel I was going to bed early because I had a headache. I watched him close the curtains and say he was going to get a drink at the bar. He didn't come back for over an hour. I checked the recording. It caught everything. The way he knocked on Melissa's door, her opening it, and what came next. Not enough to be legally useful, but enough to break trust with anyone who had doubts. The next day, I booked a second flight home under a new email account. I told him the airline had a schedule change, and our return flight had been moved. He didn't check. He never checked anything. I printed my boarding pass behind his back and Quietly packed one suitcase. I left half my stuff behind to keep it quiet. I planned to leave while they were both out hiking. She suggested it like she was some innocent tourist. He acted like it was a great idea. I watched them walk away from the hotel lobby together. He didn't look back once. I checked out before noon. The front desk girl looked confused but didn't ask questions. I told her my husband was staying an extra night. I didn't care if they put it together later. The important part was getting out. My phone blew up on the way home. First from Daniel, then Melissa. Then both their numbers stopped working. I assumed they realized I was gone after a few hours and tried to do damage control. I ignored it. I landed, went straight to my parents' place, and gave them a sanitized version of what happened. I needed somewhere to stay temporarily, and I didn't want to hear their advice or their shocked reactions. I just needed a bed and some quiet. The next part was methodical. I changed every password I had. I locked down our joint accounts. I froze our credit. We'd only been married a week, but he had access to too much already. I moved my money out and called the travel insurance company to cancel the rest of the hotel stay and see if I could get some of the flight money refunded. I told them the trip had been compromised due to infidelity. The guy on the phone didn't even act surprised. He just started the process. A few days later, I got a message from a mutual friend. She asked if everything was okay because Melissa had posted a picture in Santorini. Daniel was in the background, shirtless, sitting beside her with a drink. They didn't tag each other, but it was obvious. That was all I needed to go public. I wrote a short, cold message and posted it on my private story where all our mutuals could see. I didn't name names. I didn't need to. People figured it out fast. Some asked questions. Some stayed silent. A few removed me, probably embarrassed they'd ever taken his side. He didn't say a word. Neither did she. Not at first. Then came the message from his mom. That was the moment it really sank in. She told me I'd embarrassed him, that I should have handled it privately, that marriages are hard and sometimes people make mistakes. That's the word she used. Mistake. Like it was a math problem. Like he didn't humiliate me on our honeymoon with someone who stood beside me in my wedding dress. I didn't reply. I just blocked her. I blocked his entire family. I didn't want to hear anything else. He finally sent me an email, 3 paragraphs long. I didn't even read it at first. I skimmed it days later. He said he made a poor decision, that he didn't mean for it to happen, that he was scared of commitment, that he thought Melissa was just fun, not serious. He ended it by saying he still loved me and wanted to fix things. I forwarded it to my lawyer. The divorce process moved fast. There wasn't much to divide. We'd only been married for 10 days when I filed. The house was still in my name. My parents helped with the down payment before the wedding because Daniel wasn't financially ready. The only thing joint was our travel fund, and I had already emptied that before I left Santorini. He didn't fight it. He didn't want a courtroom. My lawyer sent a clean draft. No spousal support, no shared property, no obligations. Just a full exit. Daniel signed it within a week. No questions, no requests. Just a signature and a line that said irreconcilable differences. That was the only honest thing he contributed. Melissa vanished for a while, deleted her social media, stopped showing up in our group chats. Some of our friends reached out, some didn't. The ones who mattered stayed. One of them told me she'd always thought Melissa was too close to Daniel, even before the wedding. Said she didn't want to say anything because I looked so happy. Another said he saw them alone at the bar during the reception, just the two of them, drinking and laughing, while I was dancing with my cousins. It clicked after the fact, not before. That's how this stuff always works. You put the pieces together after the explosion. What hurt most wasn't the cheating. It was how ordinary it all felt. Like, they didn't even think twice. Like, I was a placeholder for something they were going to do anyway. Like, the vows were nothing more than background noise before the real show started. I stopped responding to messages entirely. I deleted my Instagram, changed my number, moved out of state, found a job with a friend in a different city. Nobody knew where I went except my lawyer and my parents. That's how I wanted it. Months passed. Then one day, I got a voicemail from an unknown number. I didn't answer. I never do. But the message started playing automatically and I heard his voice. Daniel, panicked. He said Melissa was gone, took some of his money, left without warning, said he didn't know what happened, but he thought she was cheating on him now. He begged me to call back, said he didn't know who else to turn to. That voicemail? I saved it. I didn't answer. I didn't reply. I didn't need to say anything. He got exactly what he deserved. Maybe worse. A week later, he emailed me, said he missed me, said he made the biggest mistake of his life, said he realized too late that I was the only one who really cared about him. I left it unread. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need to win. I just needed distance. I had that now. This wasn't a comeback story. I didn't glow up. I didn't go on a self-love journey. I just walked away and kept walking. That was enough. Let them burn their own lives down. I'm not the one cleaning up the ashes.